back, guys. Welcome to the Next Level Light segment of the Mindset Meetup series. And I have with me Miss Jasmine Charlie of the Babbling with Jazz podcast. She also has a couple of other things going on. I'll let her introduce herself. But first, if this is your first time catching a live stream with me, my name is Felice Webster, formerly Goddess. I am a mindset coach, and what that means is I help you zoom out so that you can refocus on what really matters in life, whether that be getting back to the money, switching up your career, finding your passion and purpose, and having it flow through your business. I'm your girl. So let's go ahead and have Miss Jasmine Charlie introduce herself.
Hey guys. Again, first and foremost, please, thank you so much for just, inviting me on the speaker series. It's such an honor. So hello, everybody. My name is Jasmine Charlie. I am a certified transformation life coach. So I help and coach women basically break free from, self-sabotage and helping them get in alignment with God's perfect will for their life. And as Felice said, I am also a host of the Babbling with Jazz podcast. And this podcast, it's been streaming for 2 years now, my baby. But in this podcast, I basically spark up the uncomfortable conversations that in society we tend to either A, overlook, or B, avoid, because I believe, once we start having these conversations, a lot of breakthrough, a lot of transformation is going to happen from having these uncomfortable conversations. And at the same time, I'm helping, my listeners get in alignment with God's perfect will for their life. So I'm big on alignment. I'm big on everyone just living out their life's purpose and just being all who God has called them to be. So I'm just big on purpose. I'm a purpose junkie, literally.
And it's so funny because right before we hopped on the live stream, I was telling you that I'm going to change this. I like this a little better. I was telling you that I really had to switch things up so that I'm operating in my purpose. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about, making sure that you're operating your purpose. And that's something that you've been called to do.
Yes.
And that's your purpose. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. So first question.
Yes, ma'am.
How has serving your purpose impacted your life?
Serving my purpose has impacted my life in tremendous amount of ways. I think remembering first and foremost that your purpose is bigger than just you. So when I started truly walking in who I was and who, God has called me to be, seeing that other lives are being impacted in a positive way because I'm living in my purpose. So knowing that my purpose isn't just for me or just so I can be successful or just to make my name big, because it's really not even about me or my name. It's all about the kingdom. But at the same time, just being able to help others on their journey, you know what I'm saying? And just even if it's to just give them some type of wisdom or encouragement that's going to last them, for a hard season that they're currently in, because life, let's be real, y'all, life can definitely sometimes be, very tricky and we go through it. So just being that light for somebody, even when they're going through a hard time or anything like that, just seeing the impact and just the lives, people literally walking away and breaking free from self-sabotage. I've worked with so many people, so many amazing women who struggled on the mindset part, right? So especially as women, sometimes overthinking. I used to be a catastrophic overthinker, always thought the worst scenario possible, and I literally was so used to that. And I thought that was my norm, like this is just, who I am and stuff. But understanding, no, like when I truly understood who I was and whose I was and my identity, now I'm able to now help other women who are struggling with the same things that I struggle with, break free from that and just live in true freedom, especially mentally and spiritually. It's the best. So it's impacted me in so many ways.
Now, when you said that you had to realize and walk in your purpose, how did you get to, if you don't mind me asking, I know it's not in the list of questions, but how did you get to that point of this is my purpose? I know this is it.
Okay, so that's a great question. So honestly, at first, I had, mind you, okay, now that I know what my purpose is and what I'm here to do, my assignment, now looking back just even at my childhood and everything like that, it all makes sense. And I've been living in my purpose and walking in it my whole entire life. So I was always growing up that friend that people would always come to for advice all the time. Everybody knew if I'm going through something, I'm going to hit up Jasmine, because she's number one, she's going to tell me like it is in love, but she's going to help me. You know what I mean? Or just speaking, because, you know, y'all, I talk a lot and I love to talk and I love having deep conversations. That's just always been who I was. But the moment that I finally understood, there were actually two distinct moments. One time I was talking to a close family friend. Her name is Ngozi. Shout out to you, Ngozi. And I remember one time I was talking to her on the phone and she was just saying, you know, you really helped me a lot, and how I remind her of Lisa Nichols, like a motivational speaker. So after that, I looked Lisa Nichols up because, you know, I would see her periodically and I'm like, wow, I really am. I could see myself like being, you know, a motivational speaker or something of that sort, you know, speaking life into people, you know what I'm saying, and being there for people. But then when I really started knowing, okay, this is my purpose for real, is when I launched my podcast. And even from the first episode, first of all, I was pushed into the podcast industry. Those who know my story know that I was a big YouTuber. I'm gonna say big. I was decent. I had some subscribers, y'all. But YouTube was my heart. It was my passion. I just was really pursuing that. I wanted that million subscribers. I really just was going through that. And I had, you know, a good amount of, you know, subscribers and stuff like that. But the doors for YouTube were just closing on me. My camera broke. I bought a new laptop. Okay. I needed a new laptop. I ordered a new laptop. And long story short, the laptop wasn't the same laptop that I ordered. So I basically got scammed. We can basically say yes. And in my head, I know everything is intentional. Nothing is by coincidence. So I'm like, okay, I just really feel like God is pushing me out of the YouTube sector. Mind you, people have already been telling me for a while, girl, you need to start a podcast because one, you speak so eloquently in school. I would always love class presentations. I've never been afraid to speak, anything like that. So I finally just recorded my first podcast episode in that moment where I was looking at this Fugazi laptop that was sent to me that I spent so much money on, and the whole time it wasn't my laptop. And I was like, you know what? Let me just record this episode and just stop playing around. Let me just start this podcast and see. And then just seeing the amount of people being touched by the podcast. And in my head, I'm like, I'm just talking. I wasn't even like trying to do anything. And I was like, you know what? It shows that this is really what I'm here to do. When I was seeing the feedback and the impact that I was making on other people's lives by me just simply being myself and babbling, that's when I knew. And it kind of reminds me of one thing that I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say, which always sticks out to me. I'll always remember this is, for you, when you're walking in your purpose, sometimes it's hard for you to see it. Like when you're truly gifted, it's your normal. So to you, you may not see it because it's just who you are. It's your normal. But to other people, how they're receiving you, it's completely different. So I just realized, wow, this is my normal. This is who I am. So this is how I truly know I'm walking in my purpose because I'm making an impact without even necessarily trying to put too much effort, if that makes sense. So
yes. Lovely. Love it. Love the story. Somebody getting some help up in here today.
Hello.
So next, what were there times when you felt a pulling towards something and you weren't sure why, but you went ahead and went in faith? You kind of talked about the podcast. Were there any other instances where you felt like you were being kind of, you know, pushed a little bit out of the YouTube space into podcasting, or something else in your life like that pushed you in that direction?
Oh, definitely. Even recently, but definitely the YouTube one for sure. That was the biggest shift for me. I said, okay, like, cause it was just it wasn't a coincidence. I knew it wasn't a coincidence. Like I just really felt like every opportunity for YouTube was shutting down. And, you know, I just had to go along and just, you know, go with it and start the podcast and just, trust and just have faith truly that, okay, God, this is where you're leading me to. So I'm going to just follow. I don't know what you're trying to do, but okay. But another recent example I can definitely even say as well is since this quarantine. Now, 2020 has just been a year for all of us, okay? In so many different ways, but the amount of growth, it's actually scary looking at how much I've grown in these couple months alone during this quarantine, and I truly needed it. I knew, like, I saw a shift in my work in the sense where I felt the push and the urge. You need to do full-time entrepreneurship, like full-fledged jump, go straight in, boom, and I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm all for, working for myself and you know what I'm saying, just really, putting time and effort into my brand and my ministry. But at the same time, it's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really just felt this push, this urge, and I've grown ever since growing up. Years ago, I will always say, like, I don't want to work for people forever. I really don't. I really want to be my own boss, and not in a cocky way. I just would rather put time into what I'm passionate about and monetize and profit off of my gifts and my expertise than clock in, wake up into a job that I just know I have no passion for. I want to wake up each and every single day excited to do what I love. So when I just took that leap of faith and just said, okay, I feel this push, you know what I'm saying, during this quarantine to, go full on and jump into this full-time entrepreneurship, I did it and I haven't turned back since. And just off of that leap of faith has literally changed my life. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much just stepping out on faith will literally transform your life if you just do it.
I was having a conversation with someone the other day about something similar like that. And I was saying, sometimes when you step out on faith, like the path forward, it may be a little foggy. Mm-hmm. But if you would put one step in front of the other and stop trying to use GPS, stop trying to look at maps, just put one foot in front of the other and go forward. And you will find that is where you needed to go versus trying to, go all these other paths that you have planned out.
Come on, your plan. That's good. That
isn't your destiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. It reminds me of, one of my favorite Bible verses, which is walking by faith and not by sight, Mm-hmm. When you're walking by faith, man, you literally don't know where you're going. But to me, it's like, I don't want to know. I think that's what life is about, right? It's experiencing the unknown every single day, and just living in a state of expectancy and believing in miracles. Like, that's what I want to live in the supernatural. Okay. I want to live in, I don't know what today's going to bring me, but shoot, I'm ready for the ride. So what's up? So I'm down for all that.
That's a great segue for our next question. So do you believe in the power of manifestation?
I definitely do. This is a very, very great question. Very hot topic that I see a lot on the Twitter, I should say, because Twitter, people love to tweet. But I definitely do believe in the power of manifestation. However, though, this is my however, I do believe that if you you can speak things into existence, because we are the creations of the Creator. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're made in the likeness of His image. So of course, that's what we're called to do. Like, I can claim things over my life and it will happen, because life and death is in the power of my tongue. I know my tongue, my mouth is so powerful to create and shape the entire course of my life. Hence why I'm very, 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 very picky about what I say. I make sure, I don't, even if it's a joke, I make sure, because I know the importance of my words, but understanding that manifestation, right? We're calling something out to be, right? So we're calling something, right, to come into our physical reality. I believe that, just the thing with manifestation is just remembering that we aren't necessarily the source. We aren't not even necessary. We are not the source. That God is the source, right? So when I claim things into the universe, understanding that the universe is just simply a vessel. It's that message system, right? I always think of the universe as like let's just call like USPS or whatever, the postal office, right? So the universe is it delivers my packages to me, right? But it wasn't the original sender, because the universe is simply just another creation too. So the creator is the one who hears everything that I'm calling into existence. And if it is in alignment with his will, if it's in alignment, he's going to send it through the universe, and then I'm going to receive it and it's manifested, So just making sure that when we manifest, knowing that it's not us, and you're not the one that has all the power to call things into existence, but the person that you are connecting with, your creator. Yeah. So I love manifestation. I speak it over my life. It's just speaking faith over my life, man. It's so key. It's so important.
So welcome, Smokey Jackson and Marcine. Welcome. Thank you guys for commenting and, tuning in and interacting with us. I love interaction.
We love it. Share. We love to see it.
Yes, share. So what does having faith mean to you, and how has that impacted your life and your business?
You trying to get deep up in here, Felice? What you trying to do?
Next level life.
Come on. I'm in here for all of this. So repeat the question for me one more time.
So what does having faith mean to you, and how has that impacted your life and your business? So you can answer what does having faith mean to you first, and then we'll go into how's it impacted.
Perfect. Okay, so faith to me, what does having faith look like to me is believing in the unknown, and believing that God is the one that is in control. Like faith to me is literally me letting go and just trusting that God is not going to leave me hanging. Okay. That, if I have faith that I am going to have this beautiful house and move across the country and just, start my business full time and stuff like that, that it is going to happen because I'm putting my trust, into something that is bigger and greater than me. You know what I mean? So having faith is not knowing what is going to happen, not knowing what tomorrow is going to necessarily look like, but believing that all things are going to work for my good, because I'm believing and trusting in my creator. I think it's so important to know that we need to put our faith in something. We do put our faith in different things. And these are some of the things that I talk about in my coaching programs as well. But sometimes we put faith into the negative. So for instance, some people struggle putting faith and their belief into something, right? Because faith really ties into your belief. Who or what do you believe? If you look in the mirror, do you believe that you have purpose, or do you believe that you're worthless and that you're ugly, that you need to lose a couple pounds? Maybe you do need to lose a couple pounds, but don't put faith in I'm ugly, I'm not beautiful, I'm not, I'm not worthy of true love. You know what I'm saying? It's tied to your belief, so understanding that, faith, man, it moves mountains, and all you need is a few. So personally to me, I put my faith in God, and he has never, y'all, I don't know he's never embarrassed me. He's never held out on me each and every single time, because I know I'm a limited human being. I can only do so much. Hence why I have to put my belief, my hope, my trust in my creator, in my savior, Jesus Christ. So that I can experience the fullness of my life. So to tie into the second question that you asked was about, how has that transformed and shaped my business, right?
How has it impacted your life and your business? Yes.
Y'all, I'm going to give you one little testimony.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're ready.
For instance, y'all, so as y'all know, got the podcast or whatever. And, I just launched my third season in August 9th on my birthday. But seriously.
Sorry, y'all, go check it out. But go ahead.
Please go check it out. So in the process of me getting ready for the season launch, right? One thing that the Holy Spirit told me was, yeah, we gonna get some merch. We're gonna step it up a notch. We're gonna get some merchandise. So I said, okay, I'm down to get this merch or whatever. So, I placed this order. I find, a graphic designer and a t-shirt printer, everything like that. I'm getting everything all set in stone, right? So now it's time for the invoice. Now at this time, I'm like, okay, this invoice is it's pretty hefty. This is a pretty hefty invoice, right? Do I have the funds? Yeah, I do, but I have never stepped out in faith that much to make that big of an investment into myself. Never in my life. So I kind of was nervous. I really was. Truth be told, I was nervous, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this stop me from, that's one thing you have to understand is that when we step out in faith, fear is always going to try to come in and keep us stagnant. And that's the thing. We cannot let fear, exactly. We cannot let fear paralyze us, because the moment that we do that, we're robbing ourselves from experiences that God wanted for us to experience, or just new connections, whatever the case may be, but you letting fear keep you paralyzed. You know what I mean? So I stepped out on faith. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna, what people say, I'm gonna invest in myself. Let me just invest in myself. And I did. I invested in myself, y'all, right? Long story short, some way, somehow, I guess you can say the person who was creating the merchandise for me, right? They were taking longer than usual. And they delivered to me my everything, all my merchandise. And they said, you know what? We're so sorry for the delay. This isn't typically how we operate. So for the inconvenience, we're going to refund you all of the profits. We're still going to send in your shirt. And if you choose to, work with us again, you will receive a 30% discount. So I received I'm receiving full profit because I spent basically $0, literally. But all God wanted me to do was step out in faith. I just believed. I wasn't expecting to necessarily get refunded or anything like that. I was just expecting, okay, I'm stepping out in faith. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm believing by faith that I'm going to have customers, right? People are going to buy this merchandise. Had no clue that there was a blessing attached to me just saying, you know what, let me just spend this bread and just see what happens. So it has blessed my business in so many different ways, y'all, especially financially. So just stepping out in faith, and even when it's come to me moving across the country. Y'all, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, okay? So I moved to Houston, okay, like 2 years ago. And even that in itself, that's a big leap of faith. Like I have some family out here, but coming to a new place where I don't know anything or anyone, but I just did it, right? And the amount of connections in the network, I always think like, wow, if I really stayed in Chicago because I wanted to be comfortable, right? And that's another thing. If you want to walk in faith, you have to be okay with being uncomfortable, because comfortability and faith cannot coexist. No way, shape, or it's impossible. So, I did it. I have a beautiful network out here. I have amazing friends that I would have never met if I never flew across the country and just stepped out in faith. So faith has never let me down, not once, ever.
Wonderful. I was on mute because I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was saying faith and comfortability. You said that they coexist. It just doesn't work.
It does not.
You trying to make a square block fit in a circle hole, sis. It don't work. It's not gonna go in. No matter how much you try, how much grease you put on it, how many affirmations, how many courses you buy. You're trying to make something fit that doesn't fit. It's not intended for that space.
And understanding, to piggyback off of that, your faith moves things, because it goes back to, let's talk about like the manifestation, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even, if I don't believe what I'm saying, though life and death are in the power of the tongue, but it's more so like, I have to believe, I have to have faith behind my words. You
Yeah.
cannot be mad, right? When you want to, your business to flourish, but you don't have faith behind your business that, you're going to attract the customers that you want, or that you're going to sell out of products, or whatever the case may be. Like, you need to, your faith literally it moves. It moves things, and it moves things to move in your life. It's so important.
Right.
So
Right.
important.
So get your mindset in alignment.
In alignment. Know your identity. Know that your words are so powerful. Okay? So powerful.
In the beginning, there was the word.
Amen.
If you could go back 5 years and give yourself a few words of advice, what would you say?
Ooh. Okay. Oh my God. So, okay, it's what? This is 2020, right? So that's 2015. Ooh, oh my God. Okay. If I could give myself some word of advice to 2015 Jazz, excuse me, some things I would definitely say would be one, I never necessarily used to care what people thought necessarily, but but at the same time I did. I would tell myself that I need to trust, that my intuition more. You know what I mean? Like, I need to not necessarily follow, even like people, for instance, like people, your family, your friends, they love you, right? So they're going to give you words of encouragement, or maybe you should do this with your life, or no, maybe you should do this. So I kind of was, wanting to pursue things because the people that I love, the people that love me in my life, believe that I could do these things. But mind you, these things weren't in alignment with what God has called me to do. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't in alignment with my purpose, but because, she said I might be a good dentist, so maybe I should pursue dentistry. And it's like, no, what do you want to do? And deep down inside, I knew, and I had an idea of what I wanted to do. But I just never necessarily stepped out on that fully yet, because I was worried about, okay, if I really step out and do this, what are people going to think? Are people going to believe that this can happen? Are people going to doubt me? But none of that stuff even matters, because your purpose is for you, and not everybody's going to understand the calling or assignment on your life. So I wish I would have told myself that, good thing that all things work, all things come together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Hallelujah for that. So regardless, I'm still fine. But sometimes I try to wonder, like, where would I be had I just walked full-fledged in who I was back then? And then also just understanding, like, sticking up for myself more and not allowing the nonsense to slide, especially with some quote unquote men, I'll say, and just understanding my worth and holding myself up to that high regard. You know what I mean? Especially in friendships, and not being so easily, because, I'm a big lover. I love pouring into people. It's part of, the many gifts of me, the many traits of me, but I can't be so caught up. I was so caught up into pouring into people, when half the time I looked up, I'm like, wow, my cup is empty, but I'm still trying to pour into you. I need to pour into myself first. You know what I mean? So setting those emotional boundaries, it is good to help people. It's good to pour into people, but make sure that you are taking that same time to pour into yourself as well. And then last but not least, another big one that I would have told myself back in 2015 was that the importance of seeking God for yourself and developing your relationship with him personally, like a relationship, not knowing of him, but literally knowing him. Because honestly, I say this all the time, wherever I would not be who I am today or where I am today if not for God, if not for my relationship with God and spending time with him and understanding, like, wow, God, you speak to me. You speak to me in so many crazy different ways, and I cannot ignore you. And so when I learned how God speaks to me, when I started growing with him because I put my face in the word, or I started watching sermons, whatever the case may be, worshiping, whatever, the more that I did that and I heard his voice, now, when I step outside my house and I do my day-to-day life, and he's telling me, do this or don't do this, start the podcast, make an episode on this, reach out to this person. And when I actually started being obedient and listening,
Girl, talk about it.
Doors would literally open. So I'm like, wow, where would I be if I understood this concept 5 years ago? Like, where would I be? I don't know, but it'd be crazy. But I would just, that would be the number one thing is trusting God to lead your life because he created your life. I don't know everything. I have my plan, of course, we all do, right? But understanding that God's plan, what God has for me, it's so much bigger and greater, and he will give you what you need. But sometimes what you need is not what you want. Sometimes what you need is going to hurt you. It's going to suck. You're going to cry. But it's what you need. And in the long run, in another chapter of your life, you're going to say, this all makes sense because everything adds up. It all comes together. And you're going to be like, wow, I needed that.
So I was thinking to myself, if I had, just really leaned into being just me. I think that me going through the process of launching the Goddess brand and operating in that for a while, you talk about when things are going to hurt. Like I realized, I was talking to a friend of mine, I realized I was grieving releasing that brand. And sometimes when things don't look like someone else's journey, like nobody else is sad about rebranding. Nobody else is, everybody's just happy about rebranding and new colors. And I'm launching a new website and everybody's so excited about it. But me, I felt some type of way and I kept, just meditating and praying and asking God, like, is this okay? Like, what am I? And I kept hearing, keep moving, steadfast.
And trusting that was God and not yourself. Because if I was in your shoes, I'm going to be real with you. Part of me sometimes is, okay, God, is this you or is this myself? Like, do I really want to rebrand? Like, do you really want me to rebrand or is this me? Like, how do I know? But look what you did though. You still just trusted that small, still voice. You still did what you needed to do. And look at you, like.
It like the difference between yourself and that small still voice like you're talking about, and because sometimes when you hear that small still voice you're like, what?
Yes.
Wait a minute, I don't want, what, can I just stay here for a minute? And I was talked about the box, like being so comfortable in this box, and I was just like right now I'm uncomfortable. Like I'm like, okay, so what is this live stream series that you're telling me to do? Why do you want me to do a live stream series? What? Nobody in business is bringing other people on and letting them promote their business to their new audience that they just launched. What is that? Why should I do that? And it's like, I kept hearing, you can't be like everybody else. This isn't like everybody else. This is what I want you to do. Felice Webster, that brand is something totally different. It's new, it's fresh, it's feminine. Like I want you to, this is why I took you through that journey of leaning into your feminine power so that way you can be in alignment with this brand. This is why everything makes sense and it's adding up now for you. And it's just like sitting there and it like, okay, but I'm uncomfortable. But that small still voice is like, you're going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be just fine. You know what I mean?
You through it all and you're shifting, you're growing. That uncomfortability is allowing you to grow.
Yes, I could not grow in that box. I could not. I couldn't reach up and I could not see the higher version of myself. I put that on one of my posts recently. I couldn't see her and I couldn't reach up and even try and touch like anything because I was in a box. You know what I mean? So
yes.
All right. So do you believe that having a strong faith has saved your life? It has, but go ahead.
It literally has, y'all. It literally has. I keep telling, I would not be here today. Okay. I literally should be dead. I ain't gonna lie to you. I should be dead. I should not even be here right now, but the Lord. But it was literally just saved and changed my life. It's changed how I view myself. You know what I mean? Because I believe I'm very bold and confident. I'm a very bold and confident woman as of now, but I wasn't always, I used to be bold back then, but I'm not as bold now. Or I used to always just be in my head a lot, but when I had faith, like, okay, I'm putting my faith in God and he's telling me that this is who I am. You got this, and this. You're capable of doing this, and this. When I'm affirming myself, when I'm pouring into myself, when I'm loving myself and taking those proper, well-needed self-care days and just and just believing that I am deserving. I am truly deserving of all the best things that life has to offer. I'm deserving of that, and believing in that. It's definitely saved and changed my entire life. And even to the point, another quick little, it's not a really story, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but a quick little, what should I say, a moment where I had to step out in faith. And at the moment, it was uncomfortable. It sucked. It hurt. But now looking back, I needed it because it actually propelled me into my next level, into one of the best seasons of my life, into one of the most important, integral seasons of my life. I was in a very long-term relationship. We were together for 4 years, taking her 4.5 years. Okay, I'm thinking, you my husband. Okay, where's the ring at? Like, we're getting married. You will be the father of my children. Like, it was.
This is what we're doing.
Felice, man, I hear one day from the Lord, that small still voice, y'all. This is not my very best for you. Huh? Okay, whatever. This is not my very best for you. And I was stuck with two options: stay in my comfortability and what I'm used to, what I'm so familiar with. Oh, but we have history, 4.5 years. I don't want to does that mean 4 years of my life was wasted? No, which it wasn't, because everything in your life is intentional. God allows things, every single thing, even your mistakes. Yes. Even your mistakes, they all come back together to work for the greater good of something, right? So I either had to walk away. No. I had stay or walk away and trust. Mind you, at this time, I was like, Lord, how do I know this is you? How do I know, like, I'm still trying to work out this faith thing at this point. Like, my relationship with God was getting better. It was, we wasn't as tight as we are right now. So, but out of faith, y'all, I did it. I stepped away and it sucked and it hurt, but I needed it. It changed my life. Like, I would not be the Jasmine Ifoma Charlie that you guys see today if I did not do it. I literally had to do it, and I grew the amount of growth. I went through a process, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Felice, about like how, the past things that you were doing, even when it was, before the rebrand, then now that you've rebranded, you see how everything has come together. Like, it all makes sense. Like, it was actually preparing you, So I went in a season of, I would say I call it my wilderness season. Because at this time, this is when, right after I walked away, that was like a month, 2 weeks later, that's when I moved across the country. Like, everything was just switching, that transition. And mind you, I was in a season of, I didn't know nobody. My apartment complex was brand new. We didn't have no Wi-Fi. Like, the service was bad. It was just me in my apartment with myself, with my thoughts. And I used that time to work on my faith and strengthen myself and feed into myself and pour into myself. And if I did not have that season, I really don't know where I would be, y'all. I really don't know. But it truly, truly changed the trajectory of my life. Just stepping out on faith and walking away. It really did.
That's that isolation.
Man, what? But it's important to know. It's important to know how to deal with isolation. Because, you can be isolated, right? You need to be isolated in some way productive. Because if you're too isolated and you're just sitting there, sometimes that inner voice, that inner critic can come out and feed you lies, that lying spirit, right? And that lying spirit will just go, oh, you're worthless. You're like, people don't love you, feeding all these lies. Or you can use that isolation period to say, you know what? I'm just going to work on myself. I'm going to learn about who I am, because if I don't know who I am, how can I expect other people to love me correctly? It will never work. Never, never.
Come on now. That just won't work.
It won't. It's impossible. I'm telling you.
So what advice can you give to entrepreneurs who are hustling and burning themselves out by chasing money instead of purpose?
Oh my God. I tell people this all the time. Chase purpose, not money. Not even chase, because your purpose ain't nothing for you to chase, because
Is there
purpose. It's who you are. It's why you're here. So never chase. And then also, I forgot who I got this from, but somebody said that, first of all, when we think of chase, right, that means that whatever you're chasing is running away from you because you're trying to catch up to it. That means the person is running from you. Excuse me. So when we're talking about money,
let me correct my wording.
Yeah. Hello. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really hit me different. Like, wow, I'm chasing you, running away from me. Like, you're not coming to me. You're not coming towards me. You leaving me. Like, what? Remembering, right? And this is for anybody. And let me say this too. Well, that's still entrepreneurship. I was going to say that we all have gifts and talents. And there are people who will pay for you to utilize your gift and talents. I don't care if it's, maybe you don't know how to sing, but you know how to type a good resume. You can use it, and maybe it's not, your full-time job, but there's some, you can make some lucrative income on the side. That could just be your little side hustle. That's still you utilizing your gifts, your purpose to help somebody else and to serve. You know what I'm saying? So remembering that your purpose, it's already attached to profit. That's already going to come. I think, and when we understand that and put more faith in who we are and our purpose and what we're here to do in our assignment, especially when you're in it to serve, because honestly, you can be in it for the money if you choose to do that. But I promise you, the people who are in it because they genuinely love what they do and they are here to serve their customers, whoever they are, if you weigh how the two of them feel, the person who's here to serve and is not tripping about the profit, they're more at peace. If I'm waking up each day, I got to hit my sale mark. I got to get my total for the month. I got to hit this goal. Money, 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 money. It's more stress. And two, it's entrepreneurship. It's a journey. It is a journey. And another, for all my entrepreneurs who may be listening, you cannot compare your entrepreneurial walk with somebody else because it's so specific and divine. It's just like your own life. You know what I'm saying? No one's entrepreneurial journey. Exactly. It's not going to look like just like the next person. So understanding that the money, that's going to come. That is definitely going to come, but we need to focus on your purpose and service, because the more that you are a good the more that you serve, the more that your service to your customer, your ideal client is there. It's connected to the wallet. Because people are suckers, especially if you're whatever you're selling or whatever your services are. If they're impactful and people get if it's impactful and people's lives are changed or affected in a beneficial way, you don't have to worry about it. So you just trust in your product or trust in your brand, your business, and just follow the purpose and just be your your target audience, your ideal client. They're going to come to you. If you're not a market correctly, but they're literally going to come to you. But just understanding that your purpose automatically leads to profit. It automatically leads to profit. And we shouldn't join this entrepreneurial lifestyle or business or journey just for some profit. Of course, we love it. Of course, we want to, be, sufficient, and have the finances. But that's just one small part of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is so much bigger than the money. There's so much more aspects that go towards it. And I don't think it's talked about enough. We just think, oh, you're an entrepreneur, you making money, you a billionaire. You know what I mean? But it's so much, man. Even your own character development, accountability, the self-discipline that you have to run your own. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It is a lot. So, follow purpose or live in alignment with your purpose. The profit will automatically follow. I promise you.
Yeah, and I don't want everybody on the live stream to think that you shouldn't have revenue goals. Yes, absolutely, you should have revenue goals. But I think that your revenue goals should intersect with your passion, your purpose, as well as your level of integrity.
And also, go ahead.
You shouldn't be out here just selling to people just to sell. You're trying to get everybody to buy this product, and it's not going to even benefit them. You should wake up in the morning and say, how can I serve? How can I be of impact to someone? How can I change someone's life path forever? How can I do that?
Man, and just to piggyback off of that, I just lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. To piggyback off of that, I did. It's going to come back to me. It's okay.
we're going to talk about generational curses next.
Ooh, child. You know that's what my season 3 focus is on.
I know, that's why I got the question in there.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
So let's talk about it. What is a generational curse in your opinion?
Okay, so in my opinion, a generational curse is a blessing from God that is withheld, right? So I know a lot of time we talk about generational curses. We see it a lot. People put on the timeline, I'm a generational curse breaker, which is good. We love to see it, but remembering that God also has, there's such thing called generational blessings as well, right? So a generational curse is at some point in time, because we all have bloodlines, right? We're all families. But at some point in time in your bloodline, there was somebody who was disobedient to the will of God, because when God says something, it's set in stone. Like the word is the word. You know, if God, like when we think about the earth, y'all, this just blows my mind away. When God said, let there be light, boom, everything happened. Like when we realize that this whole earth, everything, the trees, like the nature is so beautiful, all God did was speak a word and everything came into manifestation. Like, huh? Wow. You know? So when God speaks something, and since he is truth, everything that he says stands, right? So if the moment that you basically get out of alignment with the truth that he set in standard, now you're when you're out of alignment, you're now contributed a curse, right? So, and it can even be just different things. For instance, a generational curse can be, infidelity may run very like maybe somebody in your bloodline, right? So one of your ancestors, that way back when, they were very, infidelity was a rampant thing. So now that is passed down, and that is passed down until somebody in the bloodline stands up and reverses the curse by being obedient, saying, as for me and my house, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We will serve the Lord. We're going to walk in true alignment. But yeah, generational curses are and since that now it's being passed down throughout the bloodline, and it's God has a blessing that he wants to give. Because God's intention, he wants to bless families. He wants to elevate us. That's all he wants to do. Literally, he's in love with us. He wants to see us fruitful. He wants us to live an abundant life in every shape and in every aspect, right? But once that curse is put in place, it's holding God's hand from truly releasing the fullness of the blessing that God has for you. So it's keeping us out of alignment with the fullness of our lives stemming from disobedience.
Isn't that crazy? Holding the hand closed.
And he wants to open it. The thing that gets me is that he wants to bless us. It's hurting him that he's holding, like he has to keep it closed. It's just because he's bounded by his word. So he's like, if I could just get one person in the bloodline. And that's the beautiful thing. It don't have to be the whole family. It don't gotta be, 5, 6. If it's just that one, can one person just do it? Because I don't want to withhold anything from any of y'all. I want to bless y'all.
Yes.
So it's crazy. The hand is closed.
Yeah. So tell me, how has your faith helped you break your own generational curses?
My God, this is a good question.
It's good when you rub the hair like, oh.
Because I got to get my mind right. I got to get my mind right for that one. My God. So how has my faith helped me? Was it to contribute into breaking generational curses? Was that the question?
Yeah, how has your faith contributed to you breaking your own generational curses?
Okay, so seeing, there's so many ways, and I want to emphasize too that this is a journey too, and knowing that the moment that you say, I am a generational curse breaker, you are saying ready for war. Like you're ready to fight, because you're going against what typically in your family is the norm, right? Or what is just
Yes.
always prevalent. So you have to fight that, because you naturally will have the tendency to already do what your whole family and your whole bloodline has been doing for X amount of years, right? So it's each day getting ready, putting on your armor and come on, I'm ready to fight. Like, not today. You know what I'm saying? Not this crack addiction that is so prevalent in my family. Not today. Like, I will not. Even though it is tempting. But knowing what my mother went through, knowing what X, Y, and Z went through, I'm not going to do it. You know, like being that person to be able to say that. So for me, my faith is just putting my faith in God, and it's tying back to allowing God to lead me and give me insight and revelation on the areas in which I need to step up, so that way I can put an end to this. But it's been a lot of God revealing me to me, and trusting the leading of that small, still voice each and every single time. But every day I feel like I'm getting stronger, and that I'm doing something that is propelling me even closer. And I can even say, even for, financially, I've seen that breakthrough, because, even, lack can be, something that is generational, a generational curse that is distributed, right? Because God does want us to be fruitful. He does want us to be abundant. I'm not saying that we're all are supposed to be millionaires. I'm not saying that, but lack, because of who our creator is, and knowing that is our Father, he will never have his children going outside. He wants his children to be sufficient. You know what I mean? So seeing that lack used to be a strong, a prevalent thing in my family, and just seeing, as the generations are, getting up there, right? We're going into the newer generations and stuff like that, and seeing us break free from lack. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, financially, God has just been providing in ways unimaginable in the midst of a pandemic. And I believe that it's because I've been trying. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, y'all. I'm not. But I do know that every single day I'm going to put some type of effort to put an end to these curses. I'll tell you that. But my faith has helped me get insight and strategy, because there is no way, and you guys are going to, in my next podcast episode on Sunday, I talk about, it's called Back to the Basics, but we need a strategy. There's a specific strategy that we all need to do to be in alignment with breaking generational curses. And remembering that generational curses stem from somebody in our bloodline being out of alignment, right? So my faith has helped me put me back in alignment. And I see it from just mental strongholds. Man, I used to, even for fear. Fear was something that was very prevalent, and I'm still, boom, what's up, fighting it. That, that's trying to be passed down through the bloodline, but overcoming that and not letting fear paralyze me, and knowing that there's nothing for me to be afraid of, and knowing my authority, knowing my identity. So I'm seeing shift in fear in my family, from finances to just resources, man. It's so beautiful. And seeing that when you become in alignment, the more that you get in alignment, the way that your family they see that, they receive that, and you are actually making an impact in your household, in your home. Like, it's evident, it is there. So that's why all it takes is one person. One person's faith can literally save and change the trajectory of the rest of their family's life.
Yes. I think when you talk about the lack mindset, I think the lack mindset is prevalent amongst so many African-American households, so Black households, because, even if you take a Black household and you say, here, I'm going to give you $100,000, that period of lack will make it so that $100,000 will not make a difference. They're still not going to pay the light bill. They're still not going to pay the gas bill or their mortgage. They're still going to eat certain foods. They're not change the way they eat. They're not going to eat, healthy and things of that nature. It's just something that's embedded within them that has been passed down from generation to generation. And the norm, and that lack mindset, they don't know how to get it up off of them. They don't know how to. And then when you do start to do that, you talk about that one person and being willing to fight.
Man,
because when you do start down that path, then you're uppity. Then you're too good for everybody. You don't know where you came from. You know, you don't want to eat pork. Oh, you ate pork all the time when you were younger. You don't eat fried chicken. What sort of black person don't eat fried chicken? You know, and it's like I don't want to eat that. And if I don't, that like, I, or you don't barbecue on a holiday. No, I don't have to barbecue every holiday. You know, it's just those sort of things that have been passed on, and no matter what, they do it without thinking.
Mm.
They carry on those execution of those generational curses, those habit loops that, and then a lot of things that have been passed on unconsciously.
And that's the unconscious.
I didn't notice a lot of those things until I started having children.
Wow.
And I started to really slow down because I'm a mind girl. So I started to really slow down and pay attention to how I was interacting with my children and started to think, that right there, what you just said, you may think that it's funny or you may think it's that or whatever, but it's breaking your child's spirit. It's making them strip away the beauty of what makes them them. And forcing them into some sort of internal turmoil. And they don't have to go through that. If only you would.
It can be unintentionally too, like you said, like you can unintentionally do it. And that's the crazy part to me. It's
because my mother and my uncles and older cousins and things said and did it to me. So I'm just like, when you say it, but there's always this, like you talk about that little small voice, that spirit, that moving that you feel that always tells me, don't say that.
Conviction will come, definitely. Like, nah,
don't do it that way. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? And then it just led me to introspecting and thinking to myself, like, did that really hurt you when you were a child? Did that cause your path to go this way? How did the way certain people talk to you or the way certain people treated you changed the way that you were as a child? Like, what are those things that you're still dealing with right now that you have to go to therapy for, that they've been doing for generations, and they think that it's okay, but it's not.
And even let's talk about therapy. More normal. Like, that is one thing I definitely think that can help so much, especially in the African American community. Therapy back then, nobody was going to therapy. It's what happens in this house stays in this house. We're not going to talk about nothing. To now, people have childhood trauma, that need to be discussed. And I'm thankful now we're in a more progressive state now where therapy is being more normalized. But I think we need to normalize it even more because, we have so many older generations who for so long, Lord knows what they grew up with or the type of, negative words or whatever circumstances that they grew up in, but they didn't have an outlet to really seek counsel on it truly. You know what I mean? And that is playing then that gets passed down. And then that gets passed down. And to piggyback off of what you're saying about your children, first of all, when it comes to like what we see, what we hear, even what we eat, man, seeds are being planted. So my spirit is very, very sensitive. So even if it's like just certain things that I'm hearing, right? Especially music. Let's talk about it. I ain't afraid to say it. With certain music, depending on what they're saying, I'm thinking in my head, bro, even though consciously it's a good beat, subconsciously, this seed is being planted in my subconscious. And is what I'm listening to right now, the seeds that are being planted, is this beneficial to the woman that I want to become? And if it is not, I don't want no parts of it. I don't want to be watching something that isn't pouring in, because these are seeds. So when it comes to children, I'm so big on that because at this time they're still growing, they're developing, and especially at infancy, they're just sucking information. They're just sucking information from their environments all day, every day. So whatever you're saying, even if you're not even talking to your children, if you're having a conversation on the phone with, your sister from out of state or whatever, y'all talking, chopping it up, and y'all getting into all the details or whatever, your child in the background, though an infant, they're still picking this up. They are so sensitive, and it can shape how they're going to grow,
And they're picking up that energy too.
Exactly. I'm big on that. Like when I have kids, man, you're not gonna just play any type of music around my children. I promise you're not. You're not just gonna put anything on the TV around my kids. No, ma'am. They finna low key start learning some very they gonna start listening to audiobooks or something.
Girl, go upstairs and read that book. You can't watch this. You know, having that conversation with them and letting them know, like, this isn't cool. You know, and like I was talking to my 5-year-old last night. I was like, you're not allowed to be on YouTube unsupervised. And I know, like, you can't just be on YouTube just watching whatever, because I need to know what you're looking at so that way I can know we need to have a conversation or what have you. Like, I'm not finna just let you, like my son the other day, he was saying, like, there's a lot of kids out here just, you know, just running around in the streets. And I was like, I did that when I was a kid, but you're not about to.
Hello.
This different right here. This a whole different type of household.
I was just about to say, we in a different time. It ain't like how it used to be too, low key.
No. Yes. So any other, the conversation was just far, by the way, but any other advice that you can give to not only just young women of faith, but entrepreneurs and things of people of that nature in that space?
Yes, I would definitely say, everyone, so much things, but one, to my entrepreneurs, well, not even to my entrepreneurs, because this principle is universal, but let God be the CEO of your business. First of all, that business idea did not just come out the sky. Oh, I just thought of, creating this life coaching business and being a mindset. Like, that did not just randomly come. God told you that this is really God's vision, and truly it's God's business. So with that being said, you need to operate as if this is God's business and invite him in every single aspect of your business. Starting off my business, that's one thing. Going strong, I'm not gonna lie, going strong, like starting off, I was going strong in that area. Now, when I'm starting, okay, the business is growing, it's expanding, it's reminding yourself, remember, this is not you. No matter how much, I don't care if you surpass your profit goal for the month, you don't ever grow too big headed to think this isn't, like, I don't need to consult with my true CEO, because we're just stewards. I am just the steward. I tell people all the time, for instance, like my podcast, Babbling with Jazz, it may have my name on it. I may be the lead speaker. It's not my podcast. It's not my podcast. And God had to teach me that, because there would be some things, some very uncomfortable topics that I had to discuss, that God told me, I need you to talk about this on the podcast. I'm like, God, I don't want to talk about this. Why I got to talk about it? He's like, whose podcast is it? Is it yours or is it mine? You know what I mean? And I had to, okay, God, you're right. This ain't even my show. It's yours. So whatever you want me to talk about, whatever, we'll do it. And seeing the fruit that came from me talking about things that I didn't even want to talk about, but the Lord sent me to talk about. So making sure that God is your CEO, pray over your business, meditate with God and remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. But two, being confident in knowing that your purpose, your entrepreneurial journey, or your personal life journey, it's not going to look identical like the next person. And embracing your individuality as a person and embracing your individuality as a business owner. Because let's be real, especially for entrepreneurs, when you see it's so many great businesses out here, and especially when we start talking about profit, and that's a whole different topic. When you start talking about profit, when you see, somebody that's in the same niche, in the same field as you, they're over here posting their profit goals that they surpassed for the month. And that month, you probably was slacking. And it can be discouraging. And you might think, well, maybe this ain't for me. This field is too oversaturated, or whatever the case may be. But that is not true, because if God called you to it, he will see you through it. But not comparing. Sometimes people have horrible beginnings or slow beginnings, and that goes back to what we said in the beginning of all of this, walking by faith and not by sight. I'd also piggyback and say that do it because you're called to do it, and because it's in alignment with your assignment and your purpose, and not for the money. We can't be so money hungry. That money is going to come literally when you let go of that lack mindset and that I need money, like I need money. it is going to flow to you in so many unimaginable ways. Maybe not even just from your business, in your personal life. People gonna randomly send you money. Like there be times I'm just chilling, minding my own business. Somebody just sends me money. Just come. I've received random checks. It's the most crazy thing. It literally is. So we need to take our focus away from necessarily. Of course, we want our business to flourish because we don't want to go out of business, right? But you're not defined, right? Your worth in your business is not it's not defined by the profit. It's defined by the impact. That was for somebody. Your business is not defined by the profit. It's defined by the impact. So if you have an impactful business, I don't care what it is. Like I said, resume building, you could do hair, you could do makeup, you could be a life coach. As long as you're impactful, money's gonna come, period. Because people pay for impact, people pay for experiences. So just staying true to yourself, man, and just trusting this walk, because it can get crazy, but keeping the faith is so important.
Yeah. I'm going to say this and then I have to go because my son is calling me. I'm still nursing the baby, y'all. But, well, I was getting ready to say something. I think I lost my train of thought. No. Sometimes while you're looking at other people's, like she had a 10K month, she had this, she had that. And you're like trying to rush and get there, but you're not ready for that yet. Sometimes those 1K and those $500 months, they're qualifying you to get there to the $10,000 and the $15,000 and $45,000 months. Because just like earlier when I mentioned, when you take $100,000 and you give it to a family that's not ready for it yet, they won't qualify for that shit. You have to go through your qualifying process, your season of preparation before you get there. But you're looking at everybody else and you're looking at a snapshot. Somebody that I was talking to on another live stream, she was talking about it's a snapshot in time on social media. And you're like, she's making $10,000 a month. Why can't I?
And don't even know what she had to go through though behind the scenes in the process of getting that 10K.
She had to be qualified. Everybody has to be qualified. Don't let anybody fool you and tell you that they do not have to be qualified because you have to be.
Seriously.
And that's all I have to say.
This was so amazing.
But thank you so much for joining me. She has her Instagram name on the caption, guys. I also put her information in the title and everything like that. Y'all need to go ahead and listen to season number 3 of Generational Curses. She has these very nice shirts that I want one of myself. This Generational Curse Breakers. I want one so I can wear it on one of my live streams.
Amen. Come on.
Because, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about coming up out of these generational curses because it's past time.
It's past time. Even if you have to be that one, do it. It's worth it. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot, but you're capable. You are more than capable.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap this one up. You're welcome. With that, we're going to wrap this one up with this beautiful Jasmine Charlie, and we're going to go ahead and get on to at 6:00. I have another live stream that I'm doing with 2 Black men. We're going to interview them, and they're going to talk to me. It's going to get deep in the room, y'all. I'm going to try not to cry. But it's going to get deep in the room, and I hope you guys will join me back here at 6:00. Right now, I'm going to go and take a quick break, and I'll see you guys back then. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.